and welcome our district governor. He was immediate past district governor, and as you know, has taken over because of our loss of Melanie, and is finishing out this Rotary year as district governor and taking on international service role, and is a gentleman who's been around the world here a lot, and also on North and South America, and quite a interesting career that you all know about, and big heart, and likes to connect internationally, and has certainly, you'll hear more about that tonight. So please welcome Taco to lead this off, and if you would, Governor, share your screen.
Well,
can we see it?
My God, full as I am, I could walk it full if I walk.
Oh, yes, you're fine. You're fine.
Yes, we all see you. Yes, hello.
Is everybody muted, Rudy?
Oh, yes, we're all at the meeting. Huh? That's the second time Alyssa's called this week on the way home from work, and it's the second time I'm going to be texting her back saying, sorry, I'm not.
I can't hear you, Rudy, because you're muted, but I can hear somebody else.
She's going to think, Mom, what's up with you? You got a boyfriend? But she knows better than that.
It's Donna Kay. Donna Kay, can you mute your phone?
Pardon me?
We're listening to your conversation. Can you mute it so Ricardo can start?
Oh, hold on.
Okay, are we okay, you think? Well, welcome everybody. I thought we'd go through some slides that I put together, and this very first one sort of reflects the climate in which we find ourselves now and are likely to be in for some time in the future. And the quote is from John Huco, who was the operating chief, you might say, of Rotary International, when he spoke to the E-Club of World Peace last Tuesday night, and we were invited to sit in. He said, we have more opportunities now than ever. And I really think that that's right. Let's just go ahead and go through these slides, and you can indicate questions, and we will be finished for sure before 7 o'clock. So, here we go. So how do we do international? And I submit that it begins and ends at the club level with our members. So if we can expose our members to international and offer them opportunities for engaging, I believe that our clubs will be stronger and healthier. And this presentation offers some suggestions on ways to do it. We will, so these are not in any order of importance, but because they're all in their own way, I believe, very valid. We're familiar with the annual RI convention. Here are some interesting logos from some in the past, including the one in 2005. We did not go to that one. It must have been quite a convention in Chicago for the 100 years. Our first one that Jennifer and I attended was in Lisbon in 2013. And then we've been to a bunch of other ones, and each one of them has been a very worthwhile experience. Of course, last year we went to Hamburg, and this year we almost went to Honolulu, but we're going to have a virtual one this year for reasons that we're all aware of. And you can see the logo for that one here, and I believe that many of us are already signed up. This one is free. You can watch it, obviously, just like you're watching this presentation from the comfort of your home. And John Hugo believes that they may get up to maybe 50,000 people. It could break a record for attendance. Obviously, it's virtual, but nonetheless, they're putting a lot of time and money into making it a worthwhile event over a 6-day period. Vocational training team is something that is very interesting that a lot of clubs and certainly Rotarians may not know about. We won't have one of those this year, but in the past few years, we've had people that we send overseas to different places. We've gone to Brazil a couple of times, most recently in 2019, last year. And we have people that can talk about their experience and what they did. It's certainly one aspect of international that I think is important. We have our Mexicali weekend. The very first one that we did was last year, 2019. We had over 100 people from 30 clubs, 3 different districts. And that was a lot of fun. We accomplished several things. We met with great Rotarians in Mexico. We worked on a super service project, and we had great fellowship. International Student Exchange. This is a picture of a fellow that we had in my home club, Palm Desert Rotary, Gustavo. Of course, Jennifer and I really enjoyed him because we lived in Brazil for 8 years and speak Portuguese, and so we bonded with him. Naren Reitman is a longtime member of our club, and he and his wife Janice are hosts for many of the international students. Friendship Exchange is another program we have. We're very active in that, thanks to Rotarian Lad Seekins from the Colton Rotary Club. I believe that there is still one plan. Barry can confirm that later, but for going to Europe, maybe this next Rotary year. But this is another opportunity to visit with Rotarians in another country, stay with them, be entertained by them. It's very educational, it's very rewarding. And then something that I don't believe any other district has, certainly not like this, but our past Governor Bob Traster from Riverside East Rotary Club usually takes a group to China every year. And it's an opportunity for those who have not been to China to do so under current international conditions. You never know when it's going to be the right time to go to any of these places, including China. But what we're trying to show you here is that Rotary does have all of these aspects that have to do with the fact that we are more than just a club in Palm Desert or Rialto or Temecula. We are truly worldwide. The concept of twin or sister clubs is a very interesting one. And this requires nothing more than an agreement with one other club, an international club, to say, let's work together. And it doesn't require submitting 501c3s, financial statements, money, nothing. It just means it's like a handshake, only it's a handshake that takes the form of a little certificate so that your members can see that you might have this arrangement with another club. And of course, you can have sister club arrangements with more than one club. The key, of course, is that the clubs do things together and not just say we're a sister club and that's it. I mean, you want to see if you can make it meaningful by having interchanges of ideas and ideally even projects. So the benefits of a sister club, you do meet other very cool Rotarians, engage in each other's projects, partner in grants, and you make lifelong friends. In my case, I found a dentist that I've been looking for a long time, because one of our best friends in the Mexicali Oeste Club has a son who's an outstanding dentist in Mexicali, and that's less than a 2-hour drive for me. So the Rotary Foundation is a very key part of Rotary. Obviously, it is through the Rotary Foundation that we do a lot of our international work through grants. And we have an event that is one of the 2 key events every year, and it's called the Rotary Foundation Gala. Melanie had an excellent gala in November at the Victoria Club in Riverside, and it was highly successful. It was a fundraiser that did what it was supposed to do, and this is another event that reminds us of the internationality of Rotary. In Barry's year, we're going to have a very interesting different district conference. It'll be a truly international event, in that we're going to take a cruise, the Cruise with a Cause, to Ensenada. And while we're there, we're going to do a service project. So once again, an international aspect to an event that we do every year. Now, global grants. We will have separate training on global grants. So this is not meant to be a training session for global grants, but it is sort of like a guidepost. It tells us that global grants are an extremely important part of what we do. And you can read these points down here. I'm not going to read them to you, except for the last one. And the last one really says that we want to offer all 63 of our clubs and the Rotarians in those clubs information on how to do a global grant, or how to participate in a global grant, so that the DDF, which is the district designated funds that your club may have accumulated, and in most clubs, that's what happens. DDF gets added to every year as you contribute to the Rotary Foundation each year. 3 years later, that money comes back and it's available for grants. I'm just hitting the highlights of what how this works. But the important thing is that we've got this money that our members put in over time. They don't belong to this year or that year or next year. They belong to the club, and they're intended to be used for what Rotary does, which is service projects around the world. These can also be done, as we will be doing very soon. Global grant can apply. They call it a reverse global grant, but it can apply to our own community. And we're soon going to be filing, I think today or tomorrow, for the global grant number for a grant for the Riverside County Education Department that I'm very excited about. So as you can see, these are pictures of some of the things that we do with global grants. Clearly, they are pictures of activities that are happening internationally. Another way that we can develop awareness of international is to talk about this in a program at a meeting, and that program can be on just about anything. You know, the wonders of Sydney, Australia. You'll find that there are probably a lot of people in our club that may not know that Buenos Aires is not the capital of Brazil, or that Sydney is located in Australia and not New Zealand. So educational programs in our meetings can be very, very valuable. You can attend the E-Club of World Peace meeting every Tuesday night at 6:30. Rudy says that that's open to all of us. And I've attended it a number of times. They always have excellent programs. And they're and always on very pertinent, fascinating subjects. And it's free, right, Rudy? You're not start charging for it yet. I'm not going to let him answer that. Or, you know, we're very fortunate in our district. We attract the top people in Rotary to our events. This is simply an example. And I put it on there because Frank Devlin was a dear friend. He passed last week, unfortunately. But he came to our district conference last June. So did Jarita Solari, who is our current zone director. And we also had Brenda Cressy. We've had, when Rudy was governor, you had a real icon. Cliff Docterman was here. And the list just goes on and on and on. These are truly worldwide leaders, Rotary leaders, and we get to bond and meet with them and talk to them and exchange ideas. I think that's very unique. We also have the Rotary Peace Fellowship program. Excuse me. And here you'll see that every year we, through the Rotary Foundation, there's 130 fully funded fellowships, scholarships, fellowships for leaders to study in one of our peace centers. And since it started in 2002, this program has now developed well over 1,300 people who work in over 115 countries. Well, we have access to these people. If you would like to connect with a Rotary Peace Fellow and have that person either come to your club when they're in Southern California or talk to us and find out more about the fascinating things they're doing, we can set that up. So the other thing we can do is we can help fund these kinds of programs. And so we'll be sending additional information on how the clubs can participate in this very important program. So, okay, what do we want to do in terms of setting up international service for our club? Appoint an international service chair and hopefully form a committee so that the committee is more than one person. It can be two people. At least then you have some exchange of ideas. Look at the Club of Distinction criteria, which I'm going to show you. Review this PowerPoint, and it might spark some ideas in your club that you will find would be very applicable, very apropos for adopting. And then develop a plan. It can be a very simple one for doing some international work. The Club of Distinction criteria for international, it's separated into two general areas. One of them says educate and inform the members. And you can see what, you know, how that might be done in a number of different ways. And the second one is to engage members in a grant process or host an exchange student, participate in the VTT, or participate in one of these trips overseas. Participate. Go to Mexicali with us. Develop a twin club relationship. Okay. Now that you know all about international, here's a quiz. So if you want to get out a piece of paper, because I'm going to give you the answers in 2 minutes. Who was the first International Rotary Club? And what year do you think it was set up? Where was the first club in Latin America? And what year? What about the first one in South America? And what year? What are the total number of Rotarians in the world? And what percent are women? And what are the total number of Rotarians in the United States? And what percent are women? Total Rotarians in our district? What percent are women? And what are the 6 countries with the most Rotarians in the world? What do you think the average club size is worldwide, in the US, and in our district? These are very important statistics, obviously. And I'm going to pause for a minute and let you put down your answers. And then when I give you the answers, we're going to ask for a show of hands to see how many of you got them all right, or most of them right. And you can just go like this. Think that's enough time? What do you think, Elizabeth? You're my guide.
That's
Yeah.
enough time.
That's enough? Everybody got them? Sandy probably knows them because she and I were in Lisbon together. Right, Sandy? Sandy's going to be president again. She's a brave one. They wouldn't let me do that, but in La Quinta, they're going to let her. Okay, Dennis Spurgeon, he probably knows all these in his sleep. The first international club, remember, Rotary started in 1905, was in Winnipeg, Canada, 1910. The first club in Latin America was in Havana, Cuba, 1915. The first one in South America, remember, Havana's not in South America, Montevideo, Uruguay, 1918. The total number of Rotarians in the world is 1.2 million, and 24% are women. In the US, we have 307,000 of those. 32%, 32.3 are women. And the number of Rotarians in our district as of this morning is 2016. I'm sorry to say that we've lost membership this year, but 37% of our members are women. And here's the countries with the most Rotarians. The US, followed by India, Japan, South Korea, Germany, and Brazil. This is kind of interesting. The average club size worldwide is 33.6. In the USA, it's larger, 40.8. But in our district, it's smaller, 32. Our average club size is 32. So, with that wisdom, thank you very much. See how are we doing for time?
We're in good shape. We're in excellent shape. No problem there at all. If you want to stop screen share, we'll open this up for some questions. David Smith got the lowest score, by the way, so he's in the penalty box.
Oops.
And I could add one more thing. This link that you're on tonight happens to be our eClub link. So any Tuesday night you want to join us at 6:30, hop on. And one other thing, one of our club members, Sharon Tennyson, has been taking groups of Americans to Russia for over 35 years. And in 2021, we'll be leading another group over there of 100. When they go over, they meet with citizens there. They meet with government officials. She helped form Rotary clubs over in there, and so you'll connect with Rotarians. And it'll be an interesting thing. Even on one of the trips, she may get you connected with Gorbachev, although his health is failing a little bit, but she is good friends. And because she's been over there so long, she knows the culture. And so that's just an idea of what our Rotarians in our district have connections with and help us open up our minds to what's going on internationally. David Wick, you may unmute yourself there and ask your question, please.
Thank you very much. A wonderful list of possibilities, and with the diversity of the different lists, I'm just curious as to what you find overall people are most interested in, or seems to be the most popular activity that really sticks with people or with clubs.
Well, last year, when I was governor all year, and I don't know why my voice is cracking, but I apologize for that. But, you know, I was raised in Mexico. My first language is Spanish. I've been in the corporate life that I had. I was in charge of international and traveled around the world. I am, you know, part and parcel international. That's me. And so I'm very sensitive to organizations that think internationally and that are actually doing stuff. I don't know that there's any one thing that would characterize those clubs that are involved with international, even though in the last few years, since we've been promoting the fact that we are all so close to an international border, we don't have to get on airplanes to go to India or Africa to be international. We can get in our car and in 2 hours be in Mexico. So there's a lot of clubs that have been working, for example, with Thousand Smiles down in Ensenada. And that's a very good program, and our district has supported that particular program. Those of us that are over here in the eastern part of the district find Mexicali to be very handy. And there's a number of clubs that have relationships so that they go down and help orphanages and schools. But we have a fairly good friendship exchange. A fairly good youth exchange program. Every year there's 10 to 15 kids that we've got as both outbound and inbound. That's something to consider if you have a strong youth program in your club. But it's not as though, for example, we can easily point to our youth programs and say 95% of our clubs or more are involved with RILA. RILA gets virtually unanimous support from our clubs. That's not exactly true with international.
One of the things, David, I think, and if I can tag on here, Taco, with your answer, normally we have close to one person per each, or a couple from each Rotary club every year go to the International Convention somewhere in the world. And that's a great way to connect and see how you're connecting with Rotarians from 190 or different countries and territories from all over the world. And you really get that full feel about that. And it's a real connection there, I think. So that's one of the way. And there are you can go on. How many here are registered at Rotary.org and have a My Rotary account? Okay, not everybody's hands are up there. So if you go online, each of you are Rotarians, make sure you go to rotary.org, sign in with your email, create your password, and get on there. And under there are Rotary fellowships. You know, it could be bird watching, it could be those that like to travel together, not so much right now, but there's beer drinking worldwide. There's all kinds of different things out there that you can have fellowships and share information with. And Rotarian action groups around the world do those connections too. So there are a variety of things that I think our Rotarians in our district are actively involved in that can get you connected.
Great, thank you.
Can I ask a practical question, if you don't mind?
Please.
On the global grants, I understand that the minimum budget is $30,000. I know how it's built up, but that requires usually several clubs to get together. And so I wanted to ask, here in the district, is that a formal process by area, or is it informal? How do you get the several clubs to get over a threshold for a global grant?
Well,
I think we could get Dennis Spurgeon to help answer that. He's on here, Taco. Or Taco, jump in first.
well, let me give you my first answer, and then Dennis has got a ongoing program that includes a series of grants in a very important area. But you got to, if we break it down into pieces, you know that the minimum amount for a global grant is $30,000. Now, considering that the Rotary Foundation puts in half of that money because they're going to match you 1-to-1 on your DDF, I'm going to keep this simple. You really need to raise 15,000, not 30. Of the 15, a third of it's supposed to come internationally, except right now that's been suspended because of coronavirus, so you can get all of it wherever you get it. And to get $15,000 in DDF is not hard. What you need to do, I believe, is get a hold of somebody that's done it before, or the global grant chair in the district is Helene Kalfas, and she's got lots of experience. You can coordinate with, our incoming foundation chair, Steve Yeager, who's on the call, and he will, just by nature of his position, be sensitive to where there are clubs have excess DDF that they never use. My club happens to be one of those, by the way. And so you just call a club and say, I've got a project. Can I come and tell you about it? Would you sign up and participate with me? Dennis, does that cover the answer to his question, or do you want to add to that?
So we got a real problem with that is what you said is accurate, if you can get DDF. The problem has now occurred as the first. There's no matching for the cash that's donated.
Right.
For a $30,000 grant, and you can get 15,000 in DDF, you're absolutely accurate. But grants that are larger than that, you're not going to get enough DDF for large grants. Small grants are good if it's to a established program is controlled and you're just adding to it. Program, something that's long-term and make sure it's viable. What to get a program that is a startup program that then has, and that's much more difficult. The grants that I write, 50% 50% cash. Added the D has been until June 31st of this year.
Okay, you're breaking up, Dennis. So
We can't hear you very well.
We got to look at it.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions right now? Well,
Steve, would you post your email for everybody in the chat box so they can connect with you? Steve, for those who want to learn more about the grant process and the foundation, will be on Saturday, the 20th of June. Is that correct, Steve? Back-to-back classes on the foundation and the grant management at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on the 20th of June on Saturday. And so it's a great, you need to get your training there, pass that around your clubs because we need 2 people qualified for every club. Is that right, Barry? Barry wants to make sure you get qualified. So you do some great projects out there. So.
Ken?
Yeah, you were, your internet connection is pretty weak, Dennis. There you go. So you see Steve Yeager's email, write that down. Make sure you have Steve's email. He's the guy to connect with the new District Rotary Foundation chair. And he's our guy in that role for a few years here. So use him. Any other questions?
I've got something to say, Ruth.
Okay, unmute yourself.
I have a couple of things. One is that we have a young woman, Dina Sandoval, out of Fontana, and I put her name in to be a Peace Fellow. So to go through the Peace Fellow training, and that's very exciting for us as a district to be doing that. I had something else, but I don't remember, so I'm gonna mute myself back up.
So we have 6 peace centers. Somebody asked that question, I think, Ricardo, where our peace centers are located. We have 6. One of those is a 3-month certificate program in Thailand. We have one in North Carolina. Our Peace Fellows from the U.S. have to go out of the country. There's one in England, Japan, Australia. I'm missing one. And there's a new one that'll come up in 2021 and Sweden, that's right. And the newest one will be the 7th. It'll be a 3-month certificate program in Uganda, actually close to where Barry has our district project that we've been working on for a lot of years in Odaro Village. And so that's another way to connect with some of these. So I think one of the things that'll help you is to have Rotarians out there that have projects ongoing, dealing with international, if you need them to speak to your club. There's different ways to connect, and just remember we're one world of Rotary here, and reach out and expand your horizons. We've got a long way to go.
Governor Taco, will you be doing Mexicali again in January? Is that what you're looking at?
right now it's on the books for January. Right now it's scheduled for it's either the 1st or 2nd weekend in January, yes.
I want to go on that again, Ruth.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, my friends. If you're dismissed early, would that bother you? Because I don't have any trouble with it.
They're all shaking their head no. I don't know why.
You can call me anytime. And remember that now I've got my governor hat on again. We do have an award ceremony on June 28th at 4 o'clock, where we want to celebrate the good work that we've done. This was one of the final requests that Melanie made of me, and we're going to do it in her honor on June 28th at 4 o'clock. There'll be a Zoom, obviously a Zoom meeting. So thank you very much.
Let me chime in here for a moment.
Pardon me?
Ricardo?
Yeah.
Let me chime in here for a moment. First, I'd like to thank you, Ricardo, for doing a wonderful presentation for us this evening. Thank you so much. And moving forward next year, we will have 2 international trips. We'll be going in January. And then the second one will be the service project at the district conference cruise, which will be the end of the year. So there's going to be 2 opportunities to join Ricardo on an international project. And if you guys haven't done it, it's a wonderful, wonderful time. He puts together a great trip, and please join us. And Elizabeth, Rudy, thank you guys so much for your hard work. 2 down, and both of them have been fantastic. And again, thank you, Ricardo.
Okay, good.
Wait, Ricardo, could you give talk for a couple of minutes about the trip to Mexico? Like just a few sentences for the people who don't know about it.
The Mexicali one or
Yeah.
the Berry one?
Mexicali.
Well, the Mexicali trip is one where we go down on Friday afternoon, and the Rotarians from Mexicali, there are 5 clubs in Mexicali. Our sister club, Mexicali Oeste, which ironically is the smallest, they've only got 15 members, but they do the work of 150 people because they're all in it. They all do work every week. They take care of an incredible number of administrative details. They put on a dinner for us that's very nice on Friday night. Saturday, we have a project, which the last couple of years has been at a school for the deaf. And at the same time, as we divide up, we go to a home for abandoned kids. It's like a street kids or orphans kind of a home, not an orphanage, but and deliver toys and food and love. And then Saturday night, there's a dinner dance where we get sort of dressed up. There's music. There's a lot of camaraderie. These Mexicans love to party. And Sunday, we have breakfast and then drive home. And I'll tell you, the people that, we've had people go from, we have a group that comes down from Las Vegas because my governor classmate last year, John Chase, loves doing this kind of stuff. And he asked if some of his people from places like Mesquite, Nevada could come, and they love it. So everyone, we've had people, I know that Myra Allen from Temecula Sunrise is on. We've had Bridget from Wildemar. People come from a lot of different clubs. Barry's been on it. Rudy was on it. Karen was on it. We have found that it hits a lot of buttons without costing a lot of money or time. It just gives us a lot of opportunity to really feel Rotary. So as you can tell,
that's Friday, January 8th. is when
okay,
we'll be
the second weekend. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth, for helping me, and Rudy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Barry,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Taco.
Very
Thanks,
good.
everybody else.
Thank you, Taco.
David, good to see you.
Thanks, you too. Very interesting.
David.
Be safe.
David, I want you to come. Wait.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
stop the